Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this webinar, which will discuss the importance of volunteering and campus involvement. My name is Mallory Newby, and I am one of the career coaches here at the University Career Center. Today, I will be looking for your questions in the Q&A log, and we'll be answering those throughout today's workshop. We also want to let you know that a recording will be available soon after this presentation on our website. Let's meet today's presenter, Sydney Miller.
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Sydney Miller. I am the UCC Graduate Assistant, and today I will be doing a webinar over the importance of volunteering and campus involvement. So just a little bit information about me. Currently, I'm pursuing my master's in the College Student Personnel Program here at the University of Louisville. And I just graduated from the University of Louisville with my Bachelor's of Arts in Psychology. Okay, so next slide. So just a little bit about my experience at the University of Louisville. This was more so for my undergrad experience, but some of the volunteer and campus involvement that I did as an undergrad was so volunteer experience. I volunteered at Global Game Changers, the Ronald McDonald House, Habitat for Humanity, and the Boys and Girls Club. So within these volunteer experiences, they were both on and off campus. So the Global Game Changers was through a class on campus, one of my psychology classes on campus. And through this experience, I worked with underprivileged elementary students at Whitney Young Elementary School, and I worked to help with arts and crafts in their after-school program at the Muhammad Ali Center, as well as working with building curriculum for them. And then also with my church, I worked with the Ronald McDonald House and the Habitat for Humanity service programs. And so with that, I helped with cleaning houses for parents of children who were sick, and as well as helping with landscape around the west end of Louisville. And then another experience that another volunteer experience on campus was working with the Boys and Girls Club, which I did through a communication class where we gave back to the community and helped out with one of their Valentine's parties. Okay, and then now to my campus involvement experience. So my freshman year of undergrad, I joined Hope Campus Ministry, which is a campus ministry on campus where I attended every Friday and still do to this day. And then I also worked for campus housing from my sophomore year to my senior year. And then I worked as a peer-to-peer advisor my senior year, where I worked with advisors and students on planning their course schedules. Okay, so just to give another overview of the webinar, so today we're going to be discussing ways to gain experience through volunteering and campus involvement. And I want to stress that these are two important ways that you can boost your resume as well as gain experience in the field that you want to go into or the field that you want to pursue. Okay. So this is just a reflective question, something that you can think about or even answer in the chat box. So what are some things that you want to get involved with either on or off campus? And so this is a very important question to really think about even as a freshman or even as a senior in college. Experience is going to be out there, so it's great to take advantage of these experiences. So just a little bit about why I chose to volunteer and get involved on campus. So one, I decided to volunteer because I wanted to grow in my knowledge about certain fields in the education realm, as well as I wanted to give back to the community and learn just more about the communities that I'm living in and I'm living around. And then for being involved on campus, this was a great and easy way for me to make new friends and make connections as a first-year student, and it also helped me to balance my time a lot more and to edify more of my skills to put on my resume. Okay, so next I want to just talk about some of the benefits of volunteering. So volunteering is giving back to the community, and usually volunteering is what you're wanting to do. It's not forced, and sometimes it's not paid. Well, most times it's not paid, and you just really get a great experience out of this. So I would like to talk about some benefits of doing volunteering work. Okay, so volunteering work helps you, like I said earlier, connect to others. During my experience as a volunteer at the Global Game Changers, I was able to meet a lot of different teachers that worked in education, as well as directors that worked in education. So that helped me to better understand what field of education I wanted to go into, as well as gain experience with a small amount of students and in the classroom. And so that helped me to kind of narrow down my decision for a major, and as well as helped me to narrow down my decision in my master's program in my field that I want to go in now. Okay, and then the next thing is that it increases your interpersonal and communication skills. So whether you decide to do volunteering virtually or in person, you're probably going to be working with a group of people. And so when you're working with a group of people, you're probably going to have to work on some projects together or interact with these people maybe once a month or multiple times a month. So you really gain experience with interpersonal skills and gain insight on how to edify your communication skills, because you're going to be doing this a lot more often. And this is also a great way to, like I was saying earlier, to connect with others, but you never know who you will connect with. You never know, it might be a CEO of a company that you're thinking about joining, or it can be a door open to your next career. Also, this is a great way to help you find people with similar interests. More than likely, the volunteer field that you're going into is a volunteer field that you have chosen to sign up for. So, for example, if you decide to do Habitat for Humanity, more than likely the people that you are signing up with are going to be people that want to give back to the community, want to help maybe with gardening or polishing up the community, or help with artwork, edifying the community. So you all have those similar interests. So that's a great way to be able to make friends, but also to find people that have similar interests within you. Okay, and then also it provides many mental and physical health benefits, which I think this is really important to take note of as a student, as an undergrad student. Because times are different with COVID-19, it's really important to take care of your mind. And volunteering is such an easy way and a rewarding way to do that. One, you're taking care of yourself because you're giving back to people, but also two, you're also able to connect with others and to be able to learn about others. And then also for physical health, this is a great way to kind of get out and learn about the culture around you, but also depending on where you volunteer at, you may be lifting things, or you may be doing some type of exercise or movement that will benefit your health and your physical health. And then just more on the mental part, it just gives you a better mindset and opens up your eyes to the different types of perspectives and the different types of people that are around your community. And the next thing is that it can help you advance in your career. And I say this because a lot of times volunteering is a great way to gain experience and it sets you apart from other people in the resume process. So when an employer is looking at 2 resumes, volunteering experience can be one of the experiences that stands out to an employer because it shows certain skills that an employer will need or will need for a certain job. And I'm going to talk about that later on in our next slides, but I did want to just go ahead and throw that out there as a benefit of volunteering. And then also it brings fun and fulfillment in your life. You're giving back to the community, you're growing as an individual, you're developing personal skills, you're even probably growing in professional development, and it's just a great rewarding experience. And then lastly, I've already talked about this, but I just want to reiterate that it's a great way to give back to the community. There's a lot of people who are struggling just with COVID-19, but also just in general. People are struggling and they need help, and they're looking for people to help. So what better way to give back to the community than to volunteer? Okay, so next I want to talk about volunteering and resumes. As I said earlier, volunteering is a great way to give back to the community, and this shows on your resume. When an employer sees that a student has volunteer experience on their resume, it shows a lot about a person's character. It shows that they're not just self-centered, but they're also expanding their horizon and they're going beyond themselves. And also, it shows employers who you are. Like I said earlier, it shows that the employers your character, but it also shows them skills that you may not have to put on your resume or may not have space to put on your resume. So it shows initiative, time management, leadership, communication, and problem solving. So these aren't the only skills that are shown through volunteering experiences. There's many more. But these are just some of the main ones that are shown by a student writing volunteer experience on their resume and giving a list of the volunteer experiences that they have done. Also, it's good to note that students that have volunteer experience are more likely to be picked over a person who does not have volunteer experience. Like I was saying earlier, employers are looking for a broad range of skills, and listing volunteer experience is a great way to show employers that you have great interpersonal skills and great communication skills, leadership skills, time management skills, without saying that. They can already see that through your volunteer experience that you have these skills. Okay. So next thing, I talked about this a little bit earlier, but resumes and COVID-19. We all know that COVID-19 has had an impact on us, whether in classes or in family members and friends. So I did want to talk about some of the volunteer experiences and opportunities that are still available through this COVID-19. So a few of these places that are needing volunteers are Dare to Care Food Bank, Volunteers of America, Center Ministries, Gilda's Club of Kentuckiana, and there are also a lot of other ways on the Metro United Way website. And so I do want to say that there are still opportunities out there for students to get involved with volunteering during COVID-19. And there are also many virtual ways that students can get involved during COVID-19 as well. And they are really, these agencies and facilities are really looking for people to volunteer during this time. So this is a great time to take advantage. And then if you look to the right of my screen, this is just showing how your volunteer experience is going to be displayed on your resume. So usually under your work experience, you're going to have your position title and the work experience. But under that, you're going to have your volunteer experience, and you're going to want to list where this volunteer experience is at. So if you look under the volunteer experience, it shows Norton Children's Hospital, and then it shows that the student engaged with children in activities including reading books, watching movies, and playing games. And as you can see, this student really reiterated that what they were doing at this volunteer experience. So they didn't just say engage with children in activities, but they became more specific and said reading books, watching movies, and playing games. So to an employer, this shows that this student probably has great presentation skills, and this student works well with kids, and this student also has great collaboration skills and knows how to assist as well as perform other duties. Okay, so I mentioned some of these places earlier, but these are just some places that you can volunteer at. So I said Metro United Way. There's also Volunteer Match, Idealist, and the National and Community Service. Those are like federal organizations, and those oftentimes offer positions around the U.S. So if you're wanting to travel, this is a great way to get involved with that. And then volunteer.gov also has a lot of different volunteer opportunities. So this is a great way for students to be involved virtually or even in person. And I would very much advise students to get involved with these agencies quickly, and just to go ahead and get involved with them, because what better way to give back than to volunteer. And so these are only a few of the volunteer agencies. There's definitely more out there, but I definitely advise you guys and recommend that you all sign up and make an account with these agencies. And a lot of times they can fit with what type of volunteer work you want to do, and then they'll send you emails or even notifications to you when these type of volunteer opportunities are available. So I'm just going to go into our next slide, and this just talks about Metro United Way. So Metro United Way is one of the volunteer agencies that you can get involved in. So I went ahead and signed up and made an account. And so once I made an account, I was able to select some of the agencies that I would maybe be interested in. And with those agencies that I was interested in, they showed me different opportunities as well as a calendar of events of the different types of opportunities available throughout the year. So as you can see to the right of the screen, it shows the different types of volunteer work. So you can see there's a thrift store volunteer at Center Ministries. And then also you can prepare a meal, drop-in program. So if you're not wanting to be necessarily in like a building working with people, a drop-in program or a drop-in program is probably going to be more sufficient for you. So I do challenge you to look through those opportunities and just find out what fits you. Okay, next we're going to go into campus involvement. So this will go under your volunteer experience, but there's a lot of different ways to kind of mix campus involvement with your volunteer experience. A lot of times when you're involved with an organization on campus, more than likely they have opportunities for you to volunteer with. So if you want to meet the two together, you can sign up for a campus registered student organization, which I'll go more in depth later. Okay, so I did want to talk about some of the benefits of campus involvement. So it's a great, easy way to make friends and connections. So like I said earlier, I was involved in Hope Campus Ministry. This was such an easy way for me to make friends and to meet people that had the same interest as me. And then next, I was able to create a network. Because a lot of these students were on campus, we all had different majors. There was many students that had business majors. There's many students that had involved in marketing, public health, sciences, all different types of majors. So I was able to learn from different people, and as well as learn how to collaborate with different types of experiences and skills that students brought. This also helped me to expand my interest and just learn more about different types of things in campus ministry, but also different things about the University of Louisville. And then the next thing is that it increased my grade performance. And there's also a lot of research about campus involvement increasing grade performance, because campus involvement does challenge you to have a good and efficient work, school or campus involvement, school balanced life. This does challenge the student to make sure that they're doing their priorities, which school does come first. So you're going to want to put your schoolwork first, and campus involvement usually comes second, but that challenges you to work harder to get your schoolwork done so you can be involved on campus. And it helps just with balancing time and increasing your grade performance, which is always a plus. Also, many of the skills that you learn and gain during campus involvement are valued by many employers. And so employers like to see that students are involved on campus, are learning about different things on campus, aren't just limited to one thing, as in like I'm just trying to complete my major, but to see that a student has campus involvement shows that a student is getting exposed, is learning new things, and is gaining new insights. So that's just a great way to show those skills without actually saying all of these skills on your resume. Okay, so like I was saying earlier, resumes are a great way to show employers who you are, and campus involvement is a great way to do that as well. So campus involvement, like volunteer experience, shows skills like time management, social skills, collaboration, and a balanced life. And this can be shown on your resume. So under the volunteer experience, and even sometimes under the work experience, students will put their campus involvement experience, as well as like what dates they were involved in it as well. So this shows an employer that you were involved on campus, and that you have a lot more experience in versus a student that does not have campus involvement experience on their resumes. And then the next thing is, just with COVID-19, a lot of things have changed. So some groups on campus are meeting, and then some groups on campus are not meeting. And then also some groups have available a virtual online option. So that's also a good thing to note. And I'm going to go to our next slide that shows like how we can get involved on campus. So if you haven't heard about the resource Engage U of L, you can find this at engageufl.com, and it just shows all of the different types of organizations that a student can get involved in on campus. Through this website, it shows like the different types of organizations, which I said earlier, but it also has an events calendar that shows all the events, through November, December, and the other ones coming up. So you can kind of see what ways you can plan in advance where you want to attend, what you want to do, and how you plan on doing it, whether it's virtually or in person. So through this Engage website, It's a little bit small, but if you look to the right side of my screen, you can see where it says events. And so with these events, you can pick out, say you want to learn more. So for me, I typed in, ministry. And so it brought up all the ministries on campus. And you can find that through the search box under events. And then you can also see when they meet. So like, does one meet tomorrow? Does one meet this weekend? And then you can also have the option to select online, which is really nice if you don't want to meet on campus. And then next thing is that I don't want to say that you can limit. Okay, what I do want to say is that campus involvement is not limited to just registered student organizations. It's much more than that. So like I said earlier, I was involved with, working for the university, and that was my way of also getting involved on campus. So I worked as a peer advisor, and I worked through campus housing at the same time. So that was my way of getting involved on campus. And then also you can get involved with like projects that faculty and staff are doing within their department, as well as papers. So that's a great way to show initiative, and it's a great way to show that you're doing research or that you're getting involved with academia on campus. Okay, and so these are just some of the resources some additional resources that we have online. So the University Career Center is a great way to learn about these type of resources and just see other resources that are available to students. Also, you can schedule an appointment with your career coach if you're wanting to learn more about campus involvement, resume review, or how to volunteer. A lot of the career coaches have insight on these topics. Okay, so these are just some of the upcoming webinars. And so today was quite a mouthful. There's a lot of information thrown in there, but this will be recorded like we were saying earlier. So if you need to go back and watch, this will be available. So back to the upcoming webinars, we have one next week that I will be presenting on building your resume. So today we talked about, including this campus involvement and volunteer experience, but it's also important to know how to build your resume and kind of know how to include these experiences on your resume and how to do that. So we will be talking about that a lot more next week. And then after that, our next one, which would be next one after next week, will be December 1st, which we'll be talking about informational interviewing. So if you haven't yet signed up for those, you can sign up through those on Handshake, and that will provide some more overview of it and a description of the webinars. Okay, and these are just some of the references that I pulled from for this webinar, and I think that is all that I have left. Thank you all for joining. And then also, I did not include this on the slide, but to keep up to date, you can follow us on Instagram at U of L Careers, as well as keeping up to date on Handshake, where there's many jobs, events, and career fairs available to students for free. All righty, thank you.
Hey, Sydney?
Yes.
We do have a few questions here, and so I just wanted to spend some time answering those.
Okay.
So and this leads into resumes and stuff, but one of the questions is there a limit to the amount of volunteer experiences that I can include on my resume?
Okay, that's a great question. So usually we advise students to try to make their resumes one page. Sometimes that does not work. So if it is 2 pages, make sure you're filling out the whole 2 pages. So when you're including your volunteer experience, say you have like 2.5 pages, or like 1 1 1/4 of a page a volunteer experience, and like including with your other experience. What I advise students to do as I'm reviewing the resumes is, like, if you find that there are commonalities between two volunteer experiences, it's okay just to list that in one part of your volunteer, in one description of the volunteer experience. So I feel like that was a little bit confusing, so I'm going to give an example. So say that, you know, you volunteered for Habitat for Humanity and you volunteered for the Boys and Girls Club. So both of those experiences are probably going to have collaboration working with others. So you don't have to list both of those, you know, collaboration working with others for both of those experiences. You can just put that for one, and employers will probably know that that's going to overlap in the other experience. So to prevent from there to be so many volunteer experiences on there, I'd probably limit it to like 1 to 2, at most 3 if possible. But also, like, keep in mind that depending on what you're applying for, you're going to want to provide the volunteer experiences that are relevant to that job. So if I'm applying to a nonprofit, yeah, I'm probably going to put 3 of my volunteer experiences on there, and I'm going to look at the volunteer job description for that and pull some of those important parts from those the volunteer experience onto my resume. So that was a mouthful, but I hope that that made sense.
I think that was all really great advice, and you do want to kind of keep it onto one page if you can, and also great advice on just making sure that there's checking for those commonalities. And I think, again, just to hit on your point on what you're applying to and making sure that you're making that connection with the related experience. So while there's probably not a set amount, it just kind of depends on what your target is and the total experience that you have. So great advice. Just 2 more questions here from students. So one of the questions is, I'm currently in my first year of school here at U of L. Can I include the high school volunteer opportunities on my resume?
So we usually advise students to like just keep their a college experience separate from their high school experience, but since the student just graduated from high school, it's okay to keep that volunteer experience since it's more relevant.
Absolutely, and I think today, as you mentioned, there's ways to get involved now on campus and in the community as a college student, but definitely for people who are just now kind of getting started, I agree, Sydney. I think it's fine to include that. Last question, should where I volunteer correspond with my major?
Yes and no. So I would say yes, because that's a great way. I did that, and I felt like it was a great way for me to gain experience in the field and to kind of gain insight about all the different types of roles that are in my field. And also, like I said earlier, it helped me to kind of narrow down what I wanted to do. And it's free. Volunteer experience is free. And most times, a lot of people just do it once. So, like, if you don't like the experience, it's like not the end of the world. At least you know, like, maybe that's not a field I want to go into. But then also more so on the no side, because like experience is a great way for you to gain knowledge about the world around you. And it's a great way for you to expose yourself to different types of things in the community. So I'm going to say no, because you don't want to limit yourself, and you never know who you're going to meet, and never know how your volunteer experience might impact your major or your career later on.
Excellent. Yeah, I think it's great to open up your options and horizons, because it's a really good learning opportunity in addition to just serving others. So thank you, Sydney, for presenting. That's all the questions that we have from our participants today.
Okay, awesome. Thank you all for joining.